Thomas! It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by pierre-emerick.
Champions.
Good evening, everybody. Very, very welcome to an anxious episode of the Arsenal Lounge. It's a Monday night, deadline day. Nothing is happening. It doesn't look like anything is going to happen. Let me ask how you guys are first. Lev, how are you, my brother? You good? How are you feeling?
Do you know what? Personally, I'm okay. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. My friends are healthy. And that's the most important thing. And I hope you guys are healthy too. However, when it comes down to this sport that we apparently love and the team we love and this transfer window, I don't even know where to start. I'm still deluding myself at the moment.
Are you still? Do you have a little bit of hope somewhere down there?
Listen.
Coming?
Do you know what? Logic is fighting me right now. Logic is telling me this won't make sense unless we replace someone. Yeah, unless we bring in a striker. Logic is the thing that is making me fight myself at the moment, right? Because we should be logical, but we're not being logical right now. And unless logic comes into play here, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. So my answer is right now, yes, somehow there's something in me still clinging on to something happening last minute.
Okay. Mo, how are you? You're good?
I'm good.
How you feeling?
It's obviously a big day in the year today. The day where if you are self-employed, you have to submit your self-assessment return. So I'm glad that we've all convened to talk about that. Because if you don't submit it, you don't want to risk getting a fine and everything. So make sure you respect that deadline tonight and get your self-assessment done.
And Mo can help you with that too. Just contact him after the show. He'll discuss it with you.
Yeah. Well, apart from that, how are you feeling about transfer window? Are you like Lev or?
I don't know what to say, man, because I tweeted a few days back and I've already started getting the stick. Arsenal will make at least one decent addition. Or the will was in caps lock. He had conviction.
Yes, I've seen the tweets.
And I'm already starting to get stick for that. And I felt like I feel like I understood. I feel like I know my club. I feel like I understand my club. And when I saw the work that Arteta was doing, I felt like that was in response to how the season has gone. I felt like that was in response to perhaps, let's say, being slightly above or ahead of where we thought we were going to be at this stage. And I felt that was Arsenal saying, we're going to go for this. So one game a week, a fairly lean squad. Yes, we can achieve that. Add some real quality onto that by way of making space for that real quality, the wages and everything, by letting go of some of the players that aren't getting a lot of game time. Hope for the best with suspensions and injuries, but set ourselves away from the competition for that fourth spot. And I really thought it was very, very clear what they're doing. After doing such good work in the summer, why would they weaken the squad to the extent that they have, only to, instead of increase the chances, to decrease the chances of top four? They're jeopardizing our season now. All we need to do is look at which players are close to that 5 yellow card suspension. And then let's say, for example, that's a Gabriel. In fact, you know what? I don't know how many yellow cards he's got, but I'll check. And if we kind of look at that and say, look, he's on 2 yellow cards. By the end of the season, a crunch game, fighting for top 4, if he gets his 1-game suspension on that particular game, Ben White's injured, why are we risking this? Who comes in for those 2 centre-backs? Rob Holding and...
No one.
I would say Omar Rekic, but he's going out on loan as well.
Exactly.
Apparently, we were in for Titi, but he got injured.
Yeah, but listen, Tom, I was going to say that. You're joking, but I was going to say even someone like Omar Rekic. But then you look at Maitland-Niles, he's gone as well. You look at Balogun, he's gone as well. And you kind of think to yourself, like, in every position, we are suspension, injury, COVID away. Pick 2 out of those 3 from a really,
I will-
really, really weak
I will
team.
come to that. I will come to that more. We'll come to that. Tom, what about you? How are you feeling? How are you? Apparently, somebody said in the chats that you rated this window 7 out of 10.
No, I didn't rate this though. I was doing the show with my members, and 2 of them said 6 out of 10. One of them said 7 out of 10. I disagree. They raised some good points. I disagree. I rated it a 3, and that was
generous, mate.
Yeah, I was
That
about
is
to say, I thought it
generous.
was generous. But I'm sure we'll get onto some of the outs.
Yeah.
as-
Well,
as to
how are
the
you
reasons
feeling?
for
Are
it.
you like level?
Oh,
you got
I'm gutted,
low
mate.
above?
I'm
Because me and you
gutted.
had the
I'm
brief.
gutted.
We exchanged a few
I
messages.
told you this morning we weren't signing
Yeah.
anyone. Yeah,
We said we.
and I said in the
agree.
last show when we did our predictions, I said I don't think we'll sign anyone.
Yeah.
And look, it's just so frustrating, especially from the perspective of someone who's I've really tried to back it and support and to be as level as I can at times. But when stuff like this happens, it's really, really frustrating. And it's really difficult to, try and stay as level-headed as possible and to not lose your head because you wanted us, and I know a lot of people really wanted us to go into this window and attack it and use this to our advantage to go for top 4, close the gap between, because Man United haven't signed anyone, Chelsea haven't signed anyone, West Ham haven't signed anyone. We had a chance to close the gap to those teams, open the gap with West Ham even further. Spurs have signed a couple of players I don't think really progressed their squad, so I think even then we would have opened up a gap on them too, and we've just not done it. And I'm going to be compiling a list tomorrow of all the players that have moved in this window that I think would have improved this team. And, I'm already at 10 of my list. So I'm going to be interested to see how high I get on that one.
That's good. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting watch. I am at a state of loss. I'm genuinely lost for words. And I just think this is... I'm gonna wake up now because I can't believe that it's all unfolding in front of our eyes and there's nothing we can do about it. And there are 3 clowns in a club that are making decisions that are putting the club and the future of our club at a massive risk. It's a massive risk because at the end of the day, Arteta will get sacked, right? He'll probably get a payoff and he will move on. Same with Edu and Vinay. The club will be here and we will be here. So we will have to endure any dramas that come out of this. I did a show last night with Sophie and she had a really good point. And she said it almost feels like there was a plan at the start of the window, right? And the plan did not contain Arsenal finishing in the top 4. That was never the plan. We didn't expect to be where we are. And now we are where we are. We're presented with the opportunity to finish in top 4. And it's as if we're saying, no, it's all right. We're going to carry on with the original plan. We don't need to finish in top 4. Because everybody, look, almost every fan that I know in Twitter, all 4 of us here on Instagram, everybody knows we need signings. Right, especially playing up front. I mean, Mo, I'll come to you on that. Aubameyang now is gone. He's doing his medical in Barcelona. Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's on a free transfer, so he's basically cancelled his contract with Arsenal. I don't know if they've agreed a payoff or something. We don't know.
Arsenal just said they were willing to let him leave, and he's then negotiated a deal with Barcelona. So Arsenal have got that 350k off the week, basically, off the wage bill.
Yeah, they probably offered him a signing or fee of maybe 5-6 million euros or something. I don't think so. Like that.
I think he's taken a pay cut. Is no signing on fee. It's just a pay cut and leave.
I just assumed, but he's now gone. Okay, so we're left now with, as we speak, it's about 8:15. And just say there's about 500 people watching. So thank you very much for obviously being here. Please hit the like button and obviously share the video afterwards. So right now we're left with Eddie Nketiah, 0 goals in the league. Alexander Lacazette, 3 goals. Okay. Now we discussed this last time around, right? That has, this treatment of Aubameyang, right? To me, from what I read of the situation, is that something major must have happened with Aubameyang. That there is just no way back for him. It's not him being late to the North London derby. It's not him being late coming back from visiting his mum. Something so bad that Arsenal are just saying to him, you know what, off you go. After 1 year of offering him a contract, and it was Mikel Arteta and Edu who offered him the contract. So if there was a personality issue, they should have spotted it back then, not now, because his personality wouldn't have changed from then to now. Putting that on the side, okay, I'm personally extremely concerned. Am I right to be very concerned, or is this part of a plan that we don't know?
Who are you asking?
Mo.
Who's Mo?
The silence sums it up. Listen, look, I am going to maintain that we will do something. Because
no, we're not, Mo. We're not doing anything. Like,
But Mo, it
We
doesn't
have
look-
to be. This is just can't end this way.
No, but listen. If Arsenal, right, Mikel Arteta said, and I said this last week, he's put out on an interview, he said it's very difficult for us. I think I was actually doing a show with Lev. He said it's very difficult for us to improve on the current players we have. And he's talking about his strike force. And as I'm astonished that he's finding it difficult to improve on Eddie Nketiah with 0 goals, whom we've refused 2 bids for, and he's going to walk away in summer for free. And Lacazette, who I'm a fan of, with 3 goals. And he's struggling to improve on that.
Maybe what he was saying is they find it difficult to actually improve our team.
Well, it's easy
Not because
to improve
there
on
isn't
that.
better players out there, just not very
league
good at
goals
it.
between 2 of them.
no,
Mo,
but
please
you know
make it
what-
make sense, Mo.
What Lev's saying is that if Edu and Arteta are really bad at their jobs, they're finding it difficult to improve the team. Not
Thank
that it's
you, Mo.
hard to find people that can improve the team.
There
Maybe
you
that's the
go.
right angle.
Look, Gamirez, gone to Newcastle, could have improved us,
That makes no sense at all.
right? We've refused 2 bids for Crystal Palace for Eddie Nketiah, and he's going to walk away for free, right? I think we've left it way too late. Okay, now any decent player that you approach, Everton or Real Sociedad, for example, right, for Isak and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they'll tell you no, we don't have time to replace them. What are we going to replace them with? So no, jog on. And this whole Dusan Vlahovic thing now, it kind of maybe looks to me as if they knew all along he's not going to come to Arsenal. It was just a show to keep the fans quiet.
Well, you know what? On the Vlahovic thing, I was very fair to the club. I didn't criticize them at all. I thought, fair enough, you've gone for it. You've dropped the money required early on in the transfer window. I thought they did it properly. Clearly, 0 contingency plan. And one of the reasons why I was convinced we would sign someone, and why I'm saying I still think we'll do something, because we have to. Tom, just hear it and don't crush my dreams. Because after you go and put that money on the table, the one thing that everyone knows is that you've got money. You've got money and desire to go and add to the squad. And then to go from Vlahovic to nothing, to me, is madness. Listen, right now, with 3 hours left of the transfer window, we're not going to do anything crazy. We're not going to go and get Isak if we're not already halfway or more than that through the transfer itself. What may well happen is a loan move, at best. And that's what I'm banking on, because, and I'm purely going on a logical basis. What they have gone and done to the team makes no sense. I want to address this, I have seen a lot of people talk about how the players that have gone have had minimal game time in the Premier League for Arsenal, and the fact that we've only got 1 game a week, only 17 games left. The point to that is, though, if we require people to come in, they would have been those people. I realise that we don't have that many games, so the chances of injuries are lower, but there's also chances of COVID. You know, you have
Red card?
Pardon?
Red card?
Yeah, but even
Well,
with that,
Arsenal never.
you could go on the stats there. You can kind of say, well, how many times have our Arsenal's left wingers got red cards in seasons? All of that can be quite rare. But the COVID thing, you have to prepare against that. And also, when people are saying that, oh, Chambers only played 2 games, this, that, the other, actually, do you know what? A lot of these players, the games that they've played have been quite recent as well. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like you need to have them there. As I said to you guys before, if Gabriel and Ben White aren't available for that crunch game against Man United in April, which two defenders come in? If Lacazette's injured or suspended for that game or has got COVID, are we really banking on Nketiah to do the business? What if he's not having a good game? What do we have off the bench, for example? Traditional wisdom tells you that for a team to really go and challenge over the course of a season, you need 3 to 4 strikers that you can believe in to come and doing a job. Nketiah could have been part of that 4, but I'd say that he would be the 4th, or Balogun Nketiah, 3rd and 4th. So with half of the season remaining, Lacazette and Nketiah is simply not good enough. And Shaheen, you keep making the point that Nketiah hasn't got a Premier League goal this season. I really am baffled. There's certain positions where we can turn around and say, okay, perhaps we'll survive. We won't thrive. Xhaka, Partey, Lokonga, and El Nene. We can survive 17 games, 1 game a week with those 4, but they're not going to dominate any midfielders. Had we got Guimaraes, we would be saying, okay, we've actually improved an area of the team that needs significant improvement. But I'm looking at some of the other positions where now Chambers has gone out. I've never been a huge Chambers fan in that thinking he's going to make it the top level at Arsenal. But I can trust him to come in for 1 game at right back or at centre back. But now, who is our 4th choice centre back? Who is our 3rd choice striker? These are really, really worrying things. And we've seen young players on the bench recently where things aren't going right. And we've seen that the manager doesn't trust them to call upon them. People like Mika that was spoken about. People like Salah Dean. So I kind of think to myself, well, if they're on the bench, you don't trust them. Why aren't you getting people in their positions that you can trust to call on? And if you're not going to do that, what now this has become is a lottery. And what will really annoy me is that the final position will determine whether this was stupidity or genius on behalf of the Arsenal hierarchy. I personally do not care. The ends do not justify the means. If we finish 4th, this is still a horrifically naive, risky transfer window. And if we finish outside of that top 4 spots, then everyone will take that narrative. But the thing is, it is, by definition, risky, naive. And when I think about why, because I try and go back to logic, when I think about why we might be doing this, the only thing that I can think of, in all honesty, is that perhaps we're in a financial mess. We spent a lot of money in the summer transfer window, and this seems like desperation to me now to get players off the books. Like Aubameyang, the latest one, £250,000 a week. I understand why we're doing it, but to not replace anyone, I don't understand why we were so quick to get Maitland-Niles, Chambers, all of these players. Why are we so quick to do it? We don't get
that's a good point
anymore. And I just wonder, is it a case of a cash flow issue? Do we need to do something? And maybe as fans, we're focused on transfers, but maybe it's more of a simple operational thing that's going on here, because there's got to be a reason.
Yeah. Just before I go, Lev, can you just do? We've got a few super chats. If you can.
Oh, have we?
Well, and then I'll come to you.
Mr. Lay 1. I don't even want to know what that Lay means. Thank you for your support. Remember, Uber, he says, did this at Dortmund when he wanted to leave. History all over. Well, yeah, I do remember that. True Gunners TV, thank you, bro, for your support as well. Time to wake up, Arsenal fans. He says, this regime is not up to the task. Sack Edu and Arteta now. Stop wasting time. And one more from Cliff. Hello, Cliff. How you doing, bro? Mikel Arteta convinced Aubameyang to stay. The whole sign the Ting campaign was because of him. Promises had to have been made and not kept. Club is a joke now. Sadly, smiley facey emoji.
Thank you all for your kind super chats. Very much appreciated, guys. It's about 900 people watching. That's a combination between, obviously, this is streamed on Moh's channel and on Arsenal Live. So please, wherever you're watching this, hit the like button. It really helps us. And obviously subscribe to Moh's channel or Arsenal Lounge if you're new here. And obviously don't forget Gonna Talk TV, Tom. Give them a sub as well. Lev,
Do you want me to read it?
You heard?
Is that what I mean?
Yeah. If you don't mind, you heard what Moh said as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If we in for Vlahovic, that means we have money. So this whole we may be in a financial
Agreed.
issue, maybe,
Agreed.
But then again, it could be a smokescreen. It could be just something to keep the fans busy, knowing that he's not going to come to Arsenal. Because remember, when we were going for Vlahovic, everybody was, oh yeah, at least we're trying, at least they're trying. Oh, he's good, this and that. And we're not really historically a club that would go in there and drop £75 million on a relatively unproven player. So just before you answer that, if you want to read out Rahul's...
Before I answer that, Rahul Lyle, thank you again for your support. Yeah, Uber did that at Dortmund, but we were the mugs who paid 50 million for him.
Yeah, incidentally, I was saying to you offline as well, Lev, and to you guys as well, that's another £50 million that Arsenal have put down the drain.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, how many players, Tom, we've signed for hefty amount of money, 40, 50, 40,
we have wasted
30,
a lot of
and
money.
they're all left for free.
I don't look at Aubameyang as a waste of money. I think we've wasted a lot
No,
of money.
No. I didn't say waste of money. No. I said that's the player that we've kind of signed for a lot of money, walks away for free.
Oh, I see. Yeah. In that sense, you're absolutely spot
No,
on.
I don't.
Yes, he did.
sign up
You
to
all
the
heard
notion.
him. I heard him.
No,
Did
I
you
don't
hear
sign
him?
up to the notion that Aubameyang was a waste of money. If anything, he kept Arteta in his job at some point. He kept Arsenal in Europa League at some point, right? Remember the first couple of seasons, Aubameyang was very, very important to whatever that was happening at Arsenal, and the way we've treated him after all of that, it's not nice. That's what I've got to say. But yeah, sorry, Lev, go on.
So can I answer my question, or have I just reading super chats
sorry,
today?
my apologies.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Tom. This window is one of the most frustrating I've ever been through, and I'll tell you why. January is generally a terrible window. It's very difficult to find good players, but for once, there was an abundance of players available. Like, there were genuinely gettable players that would have improved this team. The Bruno Guimaraes one doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Don't expect me to believe that we got outbid and all that. I know Newcastle got a lot of money and they're probably potentially the richest club in the world now, but please don't tell me that a team languishing in the bottom three and a team that's got historically championship success and the history we have in the Premier League, don't tell me that Bruno chose to go to Newcastle over Arsenal. Something doesn't make sense there. We're letting people go left, right, and centre. The Aubameyang thing, now this is the Aubameyang thing is just driving me crazy a little bit as well. Not because we've let him go, because going back to what you said about the Sophie comment about, we don't seem to be expecting to be in the top four and then we didn't have a plan for it. I think the opposite. I think we had a plan, and that plan was to go and get Vlahovic. For some reason, we thought we were going to land Vlahovic. And then the minute that didn't happen, everything else has just disintegrated. I can't for the life of me believe that this club will let our best striker go. Let's be honest, he hasn't been playing well. We haven't been getting the right tune out of him recently. But out of the strikers we have at the club, he is still the best goal scorer that we have. Obviously, Arteta wants to play differently. He's got a different way of doing things. We're not playing to Aubameyang's strengths. I still believe that we should have been doing that and finding a way to utilise him until Arteta managed to get the right players in. But okay, you've decided to let him go. If you turn around now and tell the rest of these fans and all of us here that you're not going to replace him, you've just saved yourself just over 22 million in salary and you're not reinvesting that, there's a huge problem. Huge. Because we might have overachieved this season, but then that was your perfect opportunity to seize the day and make it happen ahead of time. And maybe that's why they went for Vlahovic. But the only thing we can hope for now is that Isak being seen in London was here to negotiate personal terms and agree them in case we choose to then trigger the clause. That's the only thing we can hope for now. But I'm gobsmacked because we started this window like we were going in with some urgency. We're going to take the ball by the horn. We weren't going to mess around. We got rid of some people early, indicate we were going to move to make some signings coming back the other way, and nothing. And the silence of letting potentially a midfielder to strengthen the area. And let's be honest, if we got Bruno now, that was sorting out a problem long term. That's not solving a problem for now. He would have been a player that would have taken over from Xhaka. He would have improved our midfield. And then we could have looked at the summer to see what we do next. At least that would have made sense. But we've weakened everywhere. It don't make any sense to me at all. So I'm expecting some last minute madness. If I don't see it, I think all hell's going to break loose.
Me and Tom disagree. And just before we move to Tom, can you kindly do the last super chat from Perry?
Yes, Perry, how you doing, bro? We having some conversations via comments, etc. as well. Good lad. I understand letting Aubameyang leave on a free transfer because we saved 27.3 million in wages, very specific, but it's ridiculous we didn't get a replacement in. And that's the thing. If you're saving that money, you surely should be reinvesting it. So, that is what it is.
I'm sorry, I need to answer this as well. Why not? I do read your comments, man. I'm sorry. I've just been very, very busy at work. I promise. I will respond to the comments. Tom, me and you are on a side of the argument that nothing is coming in from now to end of the transfer window. You heard what Moh and Lev said. If you want to address some of those issues, plus, what if Aubameyang now goes to Barcelona and starts knocking in goals? Well, how would that make Arteta look?
Look, he might do. But I wouldn't. If he starts banging in goals for them, I mean, I would point to the form before he left. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that we're saving £29 million worth of wages across 18 months. What I think is bad is that we've not then reinvested what we're going to save in the end of this window. That's the issue for me. He may go off, he may start scoring goals, but the naivety from Arsenal is that they've not brought in someone to replace us. I go back to this point that this January window was an opportunity for Arsenal to strengthen themselves in the best chance we've seen in a number of years to achieve Champions League qualification. And I just find it staggering that we're not taking advantage of that. And Mo, yourself, Shaheen, and Lev have all raised points that players have moved in this window. I mean, people scoff at certain names, but Alvaro Morata was a player that was brought up. I don't want Alvaro Morata at Arsenal to be our number one striker, don't get me wrong. But if you're saying that there's a difference between Eddie and Nketiah coming off the bench and Alvaro Morata coming off the bench, who, by the way, has more goals than Lacazette this season, and I wrote a piece on it earlier, he's 10 stats he's beaten him in, all in offensive terms so far this year for Juve, and in a season where he's not looked upon as doing great. He would have been a better option than Nketiah. Wout Weghorst has gone to Burnley for £12.6 million, 29-year-old regular goal scorer in the Bundesliga, 6'5". How many times have we lumped the ball into the box this season under Arteta?
33 times against Burnley, Tom.
Well, there you go. So maybe we could have done with him in the box against Burnley. Artur Cabral, Basel striker, 27 goals in 31 games, replaces Dusan Vlahovic at Fiorentina. He's the Vlahovic replacement for them, and he moved for 16 million euros. Are you telling me that he wouldn't do a better job than the players that we've got? And this is what I'm saying. There are players that have moved this window. It's not like we've been searching and like scrounging around the bottom of the barrel for these links. Players have moved. I just don't get. Yes,
you see what you're saying? No. You see what you're saying? It boils my blood because it's so obvious, right? Everybody who knows even a little about football, even me, right? I know less about football than all of you, right? I don't claim to be knowledgeable in football and that, right? But it's so obvious, man, that you let so many players go. You know your players are not scoring goals. There's a fantastic opportunity to achieve top four. Go out there. You just put a list. If you, no disrespect to you, Tom, right? If you can put that list together, right? The likes of Edu, Arteta, Vina, who paid handsomely to put lists like that together, they should do that. So why are they not doing it?
I honestly don't have an answer. Oh, I do have an answer. The answer to your question is something I don't agree with, just to lay that out at the beginning before I explain. The reason why Arsenal haven't signed anyone this window is because whoever is making the decisions on the players, and, we don't know the honest answer to that because we don't know the inner workings of who's making the choices. But for the sake of assumption, Edu, Arteta might say who he wants. it's then up to Edu and Richard Garlick to negotiate a deal for the players that he wants, and then it's for the hierarchy to sign off. And we know that now from the way that they blocked the Artemello loan, supposedly.
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line. The reason why I feel that they haven't, and I don't agree with it, is that they are going through this kind of change with recruitment, that if they are not 110% sure that the players that they're looking at or that are out there and are available will come in and have an impact, they just won't do it. They just won't sign off on it. All 6 players that we saw coming in the summer, we can all, I think, agree that all of them have made an impact in some shape or form to where we are this season and have pushed us on from the season before, and I'm happy with that business. But I do think that whilst it's a good strategy to be 100% sure on players that you bring in, because it won't then be repeating the mistakes of the past, in a way, if you go too far the other way, you then create new problems that we're seeing in this window, that you're being ignorant of the opportunity presented by this season to achieve, Champions League football and not go for strikers or midfielders that could have improved us. So that's the reason, that's the answer to your question, Shane. That's why we haven't done it, but they're wrong to have done what they've done and not gone for those players.
Shaheen, can I ask Tom 1 or 2 questions? He might.
Can I just read out super chat
inside
before
scoop?
you?
Oh, all right, yeah. I thought that was my job. But
sorry,
you can do it if you want.
sorry, Raul. Thank you for your kind super chat, my friend. Luka Jovic from Real Madrid. Anyone? We don't have a history of getting a player from Real Madrid on loan. We do have.
We do.
Yeah. I think again, I'll rather have.
They wouldn't have sold him because Benzema's injured, so that's why that wouldn't happen.
Go on, Lev. You wanted to ask
Tom, I've heard that we've considered Morata, but he's turned around and said he wouldn't consider coming back to the Prem because of his past experience there. Do you know anything about that? And also, is there any truth? And not that it would be surprised me because it's the one. Well, then again, it wouldn't. Apparently, we also were in line to get Titi in from Barca, and then he got injured. Are there any truth in either of those?
I heard nothing about Umtiti. I don't know anything about that, so I can't say yes or no. I mean, I don't know why we'd be going for a centre-back other than the fact that we knew that Chambers or whatever was going, but that wasn't the priority. Morata, there was a report from AS in Spain that Miguel Molina, who is Arteta's assistant, spoke with Morata.
He actually asked him to call him, didn't he?
Well, I think he actually spoke to Morata on the phone directly and basically did a conversation because he worked with him at Atletico Madrid, I think. That's how they know each other. And he tried to convince him that this is the right place to be in. Like, he was looked at as a possible backup option during this window, but he wasn't convinced from the sounds of it. He didn't feel like it was the right move. I'm not sure if he wasn't convinced that he would be going from being, the starting striker, although Vlahovic was coming in, so it'd be back up to him, to being the backup to Lacazette. But that in itself is a worry, that a player of Morata's calibre, which I wouldn't consider, that much higher than Lacazette, and I would consider ever so slightly higher and not by much, is having concerns. But yeah, I spoke to Alvaro Romeo, who's the Spanish editor at TalkSport.
Yeah, I watched the show yesterday.
Thanks, man. He basically put out a really good argument for why Morata would have been a decent signing. Because a lot of Arsenal fans, as we know, are against it. When you first hear that link, your initial reaction is that really who we're going for, sort of thing? But actually, look, we have the chance to get in the summer. We know we have to go for a striker. Is it really worth paying 40 million over Alexander Isak's buyout, like what his market value is, when instead you can say bring in a striker of Morata's quality who will score goals, because he does. It's not like he's not terrible. He's an okay striker and he's better than an Nketiah. So it'd be better to go out and bring someone in on loan for 6 months, could give you a few goals, maybe the goals that you need to get you into the Champions League or as close to it as possible. And then in the summer you've not overpaid for an Isak, and instead you can buy a better striker in the summer than him. And look, I think that made a lot of sense. But
who's going to come to us that's better, Tom? Because if you are better, surely you're going to pick Chelsea, Man City, even Newcastle now. Newcastle in the summer window are going to be a totally different kettle of fish, right? They could outbid us on everything. I think personally we missed a trick. This was a chance to, all right, you pay a little bit extra, but if you're serious, you're not going to get anything better. I personally don't think we're going to get anything better in the summer. If they're a top 3, top 4, then yeah, and then we're going to have more suitors for Isak as well in the summer.
Yeah, well, seeing how this transfer window is unfolding, I go back to the question that we did cover with Lev the other day on a show. That why Arteta was in America, and the more the transfer window is coming to an end without a signing, the more I get the feeling that he was there to wrap up his extension to his contract. That's my feeling.
Or maybe it's this kid that we signed from Rapids. Maybe that was something to do with it as well. So
why would a manager go there? Why would a manager go there to sign a kid from one of Kroenke's club to another? So basically, he's taking money from one pocket to the other. No need for Arteta to go there. You got Edu, Richard Garlick, Vinay.
We'll never know, will we?
I suggested it was because they were looking for sanctions for 2 permanent players rather than 1 on loan.
But that's not Arteta's job. What's Edu there for then? What's Vinay there for?
Well, can I just ask the question to you guys? Because again, this is something that I've asked to a few people because it was raised in one of the shows earlier on from one of my listeners. Has Arteta been backed this window? There's a lot. It's very quick to go, Arteta and this. But if all that Arteta has asked for is I want a striker, if he said to the board and Edu, I want a striker and I want a midfielder, and I want this player and I want this player, and if they've not been able to go out and get him, have they not? Has he been backed? Well,
they backed him in the summer, Tom.
Yeah, they did,
and he is part of the recruitment team now. You know, so I wouldn't have thought that if he said he wants X, Y, Z,
but if the club had turned around and said we're not going to pay for the players you want. What happens then? I know.
Why would we go in? Why would we go for Vlahovic?
Because he was the only one that he was the kind of the primary target, or we're led to believe. I mean, even saying that, Charles Watts, who knows his stuff, and is very well connected, maintains that he heard that Arsenal really weren't really in for Vlahovic this month, and that we weren't really pushing hard for him at all, and that from everything from his sources, he's heard that it was kind of it wasn't as. We weren't as in for him as so many other reports made out. And he's very, very well connected. So what if that is the scenario? And I said, I'm only putting forth a devil's advocate hypothetical question just because I'm as fuming as you guys are.
I would say, Tom, is that they wouldn't have let these players go without Arteta's agreement to it. And if he's agreeing to them players leaving, then surely he would have said, well, okay, then I need to have a replacement. So he is part of the team that are deciding for these guys to go, because remember they promoted him from first team coach to the manager. So he's involved now in transfers. So he's part of the team that is making decisions that, okay, these players can go. We don't want Aubameyang, because Aubameyang issue is, I think, directly with Arteta.
It seems like
purely.
That. I mean, now he's left permanently. Maybe he will release a statement, or we'll hear more.
I don't think so. Maybe this Amazon documentary will show something.
I don't know, but he's not attached to Arsenal if he leaves on a free. So, no, you look incredibly frustrated, man.
Yeah, Mo, I was just going to come to you as well, because Mo, you're hearing everything you guys are saying. It's so obvious that what's going on.
Look,
why are they not signing anybody?
The thing that I often try and think of, right? We get caught up as fans and as friends talking about the club, not just us four, but everyone, and we get caught up. And I think to any sort of external person, they'd probably sit there and they'd think, why do these guys think that they know better? Why do they think they're more intelligent or they're more knowledgeable than the people working at the club? So sometimes when that thought pops into my head, I think to myself, what are we missing? What are we not thinking of? These guys aren't stupid. I don't think that they're the best men for the job. I don't think Edu's the best man for his job, or Vinay, or even Arteta, or Josh Kroenke. But they're also not complete and utter idiots. They know how to walk. They know how to tie their laces. They're competent human beings. What are we... is it really as simple as that? That all the fans are right and that they're wrong? Because I'm asking this question because that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah,
it seems like they're acting like idiots.
Yeah,
it really seems like that.
I love the way you said that.
I'm so glad you went to Mo now, because he's been stewing. Right, he's clearly been stewing.
That's exactly how I feel, and I'm thinking to myself that if I can see what's happening and what is needed, surely they can as well. So what is it that I'm missing that they know?
And then this is why I say, is it that we're in a financial crisis that we don't know about? Because if I went out for a walk and I bumped into an exec at the club and they said to me, "Oh, Mo, do you know what? Don't repeat this, but they've messed up. Arsenal are really, really struggling financially at the minute. good job the accounts aren't public anymore. I'd be like, oh, that's why. Do you know what I mean? It would make sense to me. So I'm looking for some sense. It does not make sense to me. It doesn't stack up. Arteta, the last time he was asked, because obviously we haven't had a game for a long time, so there haven't been any press conferences, he said, if we need new signings to challenge for the top 4, he says, it's what we planned, but the market is difficult. It's complicated. We knew that, but it's a lot to manage, and we have to make the right decisions with players that we believe are going to really help us to try and bring in ones that can take us to the next level. Everything that he said there is talking about bringing in players, provided they're the right ones to bring us to the next level. He was asked if he expects incomings before the deadline. He said, well, we are certainly trying, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. Let's see. It's not only our intention, but a lot of facts are needed to happen. So he said, we're certainly trying, and it's our intention. And he's spoken about the need to improve. Now, when you hear all of that, yeah, and you're talking about moving to the next level, he's clearly looking at moving in the right direction. And instead, what has happened? We haven't even stayed stagnant. We've moved in the opposite direction. So earlier on, I keep coming back to this. When I said to you, if Gabriel and Ben White aren't available for that clash at Old Trafford, and Rob Holding is one centre-back, who's the other? It would have been Callum Chambers. With significant Premier League experience. Not best player in the world, but significant Premier League experience. Has played with Rob Holding. They've got good chemistry. They like each other, you know. And now who is that? So forget about Arteta even talking about us improving. Now we've regressed. And this is what I can't understand. This is what's really troubling me. And this is why I'm really, really annoyed. And this is why I say this transfer window will be remembered. Because if you mess this up, I'm on everyone's heads.
It's like that Petr Cech one, Mo. You remember when we finished second and we were so close and we went and signed Petr Cech only.
It's comparable to that, isn't it? Because am I right in saying that's the year that Leicester won the league and we came second? Was that the summer that was that season?
I think so.
It really does stink of that, doesn't it? Where there's this missed opportunity to have gone in and got some. And look, I'm never one for throwing out like expletives and whatever, but I can't deviate too much from what Mo has said. It strikes of idiocy when you see the moves that have happened and that we haven't thought that we need to. Like as I say, the explanation that I gave you earlier to the question, why have we not signed anyone? That's my explanation for it. But if that is the reason, then they've made huge errors. Like they've made massive errors in not going for the players that are available.
Do you think it's a huge risk, Tom, from them? That they risking?
It's monumental.
They're probably potentially risking their jobs. Or is it that they're feeling no pressure whatsoever for them to make this risk?
It's not about them risking their jobs. There's no accountability. No. If Arsenal were ruthless when it comes to people's jobs, we also would have been ruthless in terms of ambition for that top 4 and therefore what we do in the transfer window. I'm really, really angry. I'm really, really angry, honestly, because I just do not understand for the life of me, if we're not going to add, then why are you taking away? The Aubameyang one, I understand to an extent, because huge amount of money we're spending on him. He's not playing, and it's on a principle basis that he won't play. So that would mean that if Lacazette and Nketiah both get injured, he still wouldn't play, because this is about principles. And Arteta would not sacrifice for that, rightly or wrongly. So I understand that. But all of the other ones is idiocy, absolute stupidity. And it's very strange, because we started, before a ball was kicked this season, talking about Arteta, Edu, Vinay, all being very inexperienced, being very naive, and not having belief in them. They have gained some belief from the fan base. They've gained some sort of respect and some credibility. For what now? They've just undone it all with this awful, awful transfer window. And that's why I come back repeatedly to the question, if we can see it, we are not, because of any arrogance that goes on in our own heads, more intelligent than those guys. There's nothing to suggest that we're more intelligent than those guys. There's nothing to suggest we know our football more. And there's everything to suggest that they are more intelligent than us. that they know their football more because they are the people in the positions. So everything suggests that they know what they're doing. Their track record in the summer suggests that they know what they're doing. What are we missing? Are we idiots here?
You mentioned top four, Mo, and you said like if there's no pressure, there's no accountability. Forget top four. Is there anyone that can sit here and say that if we finish outside the top six, that they'll sack Arteta?
No,
They won't. They
so.
will not sack him.
If he finishes out of top four, he should go.
If he finishes out of top six, there's a strong argument as well.
I genuinely think he went to America to tie up his contract. That's my view.
Oh my God, not this story again. Can I just say... Go on, Tom.
No, go on. I was just saying, if they give him a new contract before the end of this season.
This super chat.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah? And the reason is because he's used the word here that I want to focus on. Mo, we have very few games and simply reducing the wage bill. It's just a gamble. That's the word, gamble. Ready for the summer. Not ideal, but it's what they have done. I do not, and listen, it's Turbo time. Thanks for the super chat. It's exactly a gamble. And I'm so annoyed. If you're going to gamble ambitiously. Yeah. Gamble upwards, not downwards.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I mean that, look, you might be able to get Alexander Isak for 60 million in the summer. And if you pay 75 million now, you're gambling on that extra 15 million for Champions League.
That's a gamble.
An ambitious gamble, to me, is acceptable and carries an ambitious basis of logic to support the gamble. This is us trying to save money while sneaking top four. It's so upsetting to me that this is the direction, the rudderless direction of our club. But ultimately, when our when Edu has gone out and done an interview earlier on in the season, refusing to be held to any target, this is a symptom of that thinking. This is a symptom of that culture in the club. This is why I've always said, I don't care how well it's going, I'd never, ever want the Cronkies. And this is why the Liverpool fans have kept up the pressure. They've got a good chance of winning the Champions League again this season, but they've never, ever accepted those owners because now is the time for Liverpool to go and achieve incredible things, and the owners aren't backing it. And Arsenal, we're far behind Liverpool, but now's our chance to go and achieve something we haven't achieved for many, many years, and to turn the tables, turn our fortunes around in this non-Champions League spell that we're having after being there for 20 years. And look at this. Look at what our club is doing. And it really, really upsets me. You are not fit to be the custodians of Arsenal Football Club if you're gambling in such unambitious, cheap methods. If that's how you're going to gamble, that's what you are. You are gamblers. You are not custodians. I want to see the back of you.
Shaheen, do you know what the worst thing is?
Lev, I'm sorry, man. It seems that every time I come through the super chats, please bear with me. Let me just read this.
I'm just going to...
Sorry.
Thank you, no, I'm not talking
for your super chat. Thoughts on Canada possibly qualifying for World Cup? Yeah, very good for them, but I think we've got more pressing issues.
Go on, Lev, what are your thoughts on Canada qualifying? Go on.
I get all the good questions.
Leave Lev alone. Anu Parkar, again, thank you for your super chat, brother. We have to buy 3 strikers in summer, which is tough. And there is another one. Just bear with me. Here we go from Josh. Do you think Arteta's thinking is that even though the squad is thin, because we only have the league to focus on, that we can challenge for top 4? Lev, that's for you. I'm going to come to. There's another one as well. Just bear with me.
All right, yeah. You just do your thing, Shane. Just let me know when you want me to say.
Lazo, thank you for your super chat again. Disappointed at Arsenal. I think you can tell we are all disappointed at Arsenal. And Perry, thank you again for your kind super chat. We could have got Arthur Melo on a team-up loan deal, or Lukajovic on loan. Even could have got Bentancur before he went to Spurs. Disappointed. Following on what Perry said, Lev, I have not seen Mo like this on our channel for ever since we started doing podcasts together, and I can see that he's very annoyed and upset. So am I. And can you make sense out of it?
I think we're all annoyed. I mean, I thought I was hiding it pretty well, but loads of people in the chat were saying I look like my dog's died, or he's sad, or he needs a glass of wine. So clearly I'm not hiding it very well. And you're right, we don't usually see Mo so animated. He's very calm and calculated. Sorry about the accountancy pun there, but the fact of the matter is, we have gone out of everything else. What else have we got left this season? Please tell me. We got nothing left. We're out of everything else. So where is the ambition to say, do you know what? We're higher than we expected this year, right? We're ahead of the game. This is our chance. Everyone's dropping points. People have got a fixture pile-ups. We games in hand and all this sort of stuff. It's very, very uncertain. If you're going to gamble big, now's your time to gamble. Now, I know Isak is overpriced at what he is. I mean, his transfer market pricing is about 40-50 mil, like normally. All right, you pay over the odds a little bit. I get that. I mean, I think we've been really, really affected by what went on before. All the bad dealings that went on before, I think, is giving us like this complex that we don't want to end up with dross again and pay for people over the odds and end up with so many players to get rid of. And it's taken us a lot of time to get rid of this dead wood. So maybe, just maybe, they've got a little bit of shell shock from that. But there's a couple of things that are quite straightforward. Like Mo said, you don't have to be a genius. And I know you talk about intelligence and all of this, but football is a simple game with simple solutions. And a lot of us fans, we know when we see something, what needs to be done. It's always been the case. How many years has it been at Arsenal? Have always been 3 or 4 players off and never went that extra bit to make the difference, to go that extra yard, to get success. And we always fell short. This is another chance here.
We left Highbury to be able to compete, Lev.
It doesn't, right? Well, yeah, I know that. I used to go to Highbury. I think they ripped our soul out by moving. But once you've done it and you've told us this is the reason, then put your money where your mouth is. Now, to be honest, a lot of the hard work had been done. We only needed a couple of additions. We just needed another midfield cover for now. We could have got away with not having any more wide players, and we could have just gone and got ourselves a proven goal scorer. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be someone that guarantees going to hit the ground running and get us 10, 15 goals. Just the presence in the box and a focal point to link up the rest of the play and cause damage and take defenders out of the game. Even someone like a Morata would have made a difference. So what they're planning is, I have no idea. If this is the end game and this is how it finishes, serious questions have to be asked, because this is poor planning. It's poor planning in pre-season. It's poor planning in transfer windows. It's poor planning in general. What are they doing? So, like, Isak surely must have been in London for a reason. I cannot believe he came all the way to London to go to Selfridges. I can't.
Well, you might be here on holiday, but to be fair to you, you've always maintained that we should have addressed the issue of AFCON, which we never did.
Oh, the midfield should have been dealt with ages ago.
Let me just read out a few super chats before we carry on. Sam, thank you very much for your kind super chat. Mo, if only we had the same energy. Change won't happen if we remain passive. There's another one. Kraz, I think. Thank you for your kind super chat. Absolutely got it. Oba has gone. We needed to strengthen and push for top 4. A couple of injuries and we're in trouble. That's exactly what Mo was saying earlier. And Shadu, thank you very much for your kind super chat. Can't blame Edu for this window. They did everything they could to get Vlahovic over the line. What can you do? The player doesn't want to come. Isak would have been a panic buy. Edu and board are in control and we're unlucky.
Shardul, what you said, what can you do? My answer is you have a contingency plan. Simple as that. Even if it's a loan, you do something. You don't have plan A and nothing else. When it's a game, when we're watching Arsenal play against Burnley, we put 34 crosses into the box, only 3 of those are successful. We say to the manager, what was the plan B? Why did we see no evidence of a plan B? Now, in the transfer window, this is when Edu earns his money. This is his time. This is his 90 minutes, if you want to call it that. So I don't care if plan A didn't work. I was fair to him on that. I said, fair enough, you've gone for it. You've tried to do the big business. But just like the manager, when it's his time to shine, when it's the players, when it's their time to shine, I ask Edu, I ask Vinay, what was your plan B? I don't see it.
Yeah, well, and another one is time. It's turbo time. Best chance for top 4, and we blew it. Yes, couldn't agree more. we've got a combination of Arsenal Lounge and Mo's channel. I think we've got about 1,500 and something people watching. So please, first of all, thank you for being here and watching us, giving us the time. Please hit the like button, subscribe to Arsenal Lounge, subscribe to Moh Haider's channel, subscribe to the Gooner Talk TV. We do this show Monday, 8 o'clock, every Monday, us four, and we discuss obviously Arsenal and everything Arsenal related. Let's assume, Tom, right, that the window will finish the way he's finishing. And I think it looks that way because now it's 9 o'clock, 2 hours left. There's not even a talk of anything that is gathering momentum. If it does finish like that, surely people have to be people will have to be held responsible, especially if we finish outside the top four. And another thing is, I agree with Mo on a point, and this is the point that I raised a lot of time in the shows before, that what is it that we're missing? So what is it that millions of Arsenal fans are missing, but a group of 10, 15 people at Arsenal, they know. So they know and millions don't know. I don't, do you know what is it?
Look, there could be a number of things we might not know, as Mo said, if there is financial concerns, if there is less money than we expected. They may not have gone for Vlahovic as hard as a lot of people reported that we did. They may not be wanting to go for players that they're not 100% sure on. But none of those things justifies some of the things that we've missed out on this window. I can't come up with any kind of explanation as to why Arsenal couldn't have gone to 15 million euros on a player, be that a Weghorst or be that a Gabriel. I can't think of why we would let Ainsley Maitland-Niles leave if we were so unsure and so far away from bringing in a midfielder so that it cost us the FA Cup competition. I can't fathom how I was so encouraged by what we did in the summer, to the point where I was like, we're moving in the right direction. That I saw some real encouragement. I was buoyed by what we did and thinking, and that's why I put so much stock. And that's why I get so much stick from a lot of people that want Arteta gone, have wanted him gone for a long time. It's because I put stock in that and I respected what they did and I backed them based on that point. But I feel really let down by what's happened, as do I know a lot of people do. But in answer to your question, Shaheen, the honest answer is that we don't know, and we won't. I don't think even the Amazon documentary will reveal that stuff, because Arsenal have got censorship rights. They show what they want. They'll show what they want. It won't be a case. It's not like a documentary. It's not like Der Spiegel are doing like a reveal on Arsenal by any stretch of the imagination. It's Arsenal showing us what they'll want to show us. I hope that Aubameyang enlightens us now he's gone, with maybe some stuff. Obviously, it'll come from his perspective, and maybe that'll spark an Arsenal response. Who knows? But I just can't fathom the naive is the words. Naivety and ignorance are the two words that I associate with this window, because we should have done stuff that we haven't, and it's going to cost us. It is going to cost us. I can't see us achieving top four without the plans. And you can just see going to Wolves, who are a very, very good side in our next game, either losing, which will be, it's very realistic. If you look at the team that played against Burnley in that performance, Wolves would beat that Arsenal side on that day. Or Lacazette gets injured. And then we're in trouble, big trouble.
The thing is, we're now in a position, and I don't know if you guys agree or not, we're in a position that we are possibly 1 or 2 losses away from a fan meltdown.
Yeah.
And it will be all over Edu and Arteta and Vinay, and Emirates will not be a nice place for them. I've seen things like that before. Before I come to you, Mo, this time, see, I'm doing it on to Mo, Lev. It's not just you. I'm going to read out some super chats. Alfonso, as a fan from Denver, I understand the Cronkies better. It's going to get worse. We would love to talk to you all about that someday. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much for your support, man. Definitely message us on Twitter, and hopefully maybe we can sort something out. Sean says, I can already hear the excuses. This season was a free hit. We can expect to compete for Europe with a young squad. I agree with you, mate, unfortunately. Saud Nasri, thank you very much for No nation. From watching,
That's a bad
how-
omen.
so again,
Nasri's talking to us. That's a bad omen, isn't it?
from watching how the Cronkies deal with the Rams and the Denver Nuggets, they really put full support in the coaching staff and allow them to have initiative to make the deals. It looks that way at Arsenal, but unfortunately, they ain't getting much right. Robert says, if money was tight, then why reject their egg bid? Fair point. And I think there's another one.
There's a Vishal's one.
Michelle one is we already put that. Shaheen, your thoughts on Austin?
Yeah, Shaheen, can you tell us about
Austin?
Austin Trusty, please? Can you tell us what you think?
I can't even
about
pronounce his name.
What
That's
his
my
benefits?
The process.
I have no idea who he is. All I know is from one of the Cronkies clubs, so one of his club to the other club. That's all. Why did Edu say he's planned the next 3 windows when he's done 0? And does the clear out guarantee that we get 100 million war chest in the summer? And our good old friend Wayne says 1 or 2 losses, Shaheen. Arsenal fans have been a meltdown all window. I seriously believe we are blowing it out of proportion. Thank you for that, guys. Much appreciated. Super chats. I want to go back to kind of round things up more. With the interesting thing that just came out of nowhere, really, and I wasn't planning on discussing it. It just came out. There seems to be zero accountability for anybody. As if, yeah, let's do that. And if it goes wrong, yeah, whatever, nothing will happen kind of thing will go on. Because if I felt as a manager or director of football that if I get the window wrong, it will have implications for me, there's no chance that I would move this way. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I think there was a complete lack of accountability, lack of fear in terms of not doing your job adequately at this club. I think people feel very secure. And what I would say to a lot of people who are saying that we're blowing this out of proportion and 17 games left, 1 game a week, all that sort of stuff, where is that competition for places? You are highlighting that as a problem off the pitch in those positions where people don't feel any pressure. The whole point of having a squad is that it creates that pressure. People raise their game when they know there's someone ready to take their place. We saw Tierney dipped a little bit. Tavares came in, did okay. Tierney straight back at it. It had that positive impact on him. There is zero competition for places. You tell me, how many people in the squad are really thinking, wonder if I've done enough to get my place in the team next game? It seems like the only place where there's true competition is Emil Smith-Rowe and Ødegaard. Either one of those two. Other than that, who else?
Yeah.
And that is a bad place to be in as a squad anyway. And that's the first thing. The second thing is, as I keep on saying, suspensions, injuries, COVID. What the hell happens then? And I'm just, I'm still going to say it. We will do something in the next 2 hours because we have to. We have to do it. Tom.
What if we don't, Mo? Mo, what if we don't?
Isn't it? No, then the only conclusion is the really sort of fan-centric, arrogant one that we know better than them and they're actually all idiots. And that can't be true. That cannot be true. Top clubs aren't run with idiots.
Mo, are you trying to convince yourself? Mo, you trying to convince yourself, or because that's what it seems like what we're trying to do. It's like none of us can believe what's going on. Personally, I'm with Mo on this. I'm still, logic is saying to me that if there's any game plan, is that if there's any intellect and logic involved, there has to be some sort of someone coming in, because we've let go so many. It doesn't make any sense.
Can you do me a favor? Can you kick Tom off the stream? I'm getting so fed up of his smirk because he's so convinced nothing's going to happen. Kick him off the stream. I'm done with Tom.
Yes. Leave him off for a minute. Now you know how it feels.
One
Tom.
more outgoing, no more incomings.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm actually in the same boat as Tom. I don't really think, because he doesn't look.
Kick him off the street.
No, I actually can. Yeah, so there you go.
There you go.
So anyway,
Look,
guys, as we were saying,
I'll tell you what, Mo. We have seen things announced out of nowhere. Like, you know, Chambers out of nowhere. Matt Ryan out of nowhere. I honestly, mate, I wish I had the optimism that you had. I really, really do.
Is it optimism or is it logic?
No, and you're absolutely right. It is optimism, but it is based on logic, is what it is. It is optimism based on logic, because you're so spot on. We, as fans, with our limited knowledge of football, don't know how clubs work, never been inside one, don't know how to train a team, haven't never been a coach, never played the game at that elite level. But how can we sit here and know plainly and watch players move from one club to another for fees that we know Arsenal were capable of paying, and know that we should have gone for them? It's maddening. It really is maddening how we are not letting this happen, because, you know, we have no control, but just how we're watching this happen.
Someone in the chat, Shaheen, someone in the chat has said, this show is one-sided, it's not balanced. So I'm trying in my head to think balanced now. How can we balance out this show? How can we balance out this transfer? How can we balance out this transfer window? And the guy that said it, you come and tell us how we can balance this out. Because if there's some sort of justification, I'd like to hear it.
I think the balance is that people are saying, and I get tired of these arguments because it's so unambitious.
Yeah.
So you will never achieve anything with these arguments. But the arguments are, our rivals haven't added. What have Man United done? What have Chelsea done? Our rivals haven't added. The answer to that is they haven't decimated their squads also. Yeah. We have decimated our squads. The other thing is that one game a week. I hear that, one game a week. It doesn't guarantee you no suspensions, no injuries. We've got 17 games left. Players are going to be on course if they track accordingly to get suspensions. Naturally, injuries will occur. What are we going to do then? We're so lean in our squad. So those are the two main pushbacks that we get. If that's what people want for balance, I'm not going to spit that rhetoric because I do not believe in it. What I believe in doing is understanding and preparing for worst case scenario. You know, within reason. I'm not saying that I need to know who our 8th choice centre-back is and he needs to be of world-class quality. Let's be sensible here. What I'm saying is that Rob Holding is far from world-class, but fine, I'm happy with him there. I even would have tolerated Callum Chambers being there. What did we gain by letting Callum Chambers go for no money? I understand it with Aubameyang. This is where I'm talking about balance. With Aubameyang, fine, I get it. The club, I see your angle. But with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, with Callum Chambers, I do not get it. Is the saving worth the risk? You know what? Do we have like some sort of handcuffs on in terms of capital requirements? You know, when we're paying the stadium debts off, we might have had some certain solvency requirements to say you need this much liquid funds available to you. Like, what is going on that is making this club make decisions that clearly are not in the footballing interest? If you're going to come up with reasons and this balance thing, give me things that are in the footballing interest. This transfer window has not been in the footballing interest. Callum Chambers was not a bad egg. Why did we let him go?
Shane, can I address something that Maximus has put in here as well? You guys don't address the real problem, as you don't want to be seen as negative, and I think that's behind the team. That's total crap, Maximus. I'm sorry,
I sound
mate.
positive.
It's total crap what he said there, because we have been negative and we have said it how it is when it matters. We don't sit here.
It's not negative, Lev. It's constructive.
Exactly. Listen. There's been negative aspects to discuss, though. There's been negative aspects to discuss, and we've discussed them on this show many times. This is a negative aspect. This is something that we are discussing. How we could be seen to not want to be negative or behind the team. Like, I don't understand. There's nothing wrong. As a fan, you should be behind the team. And calling your own fans clowns, you should ask yourself if you're a fan. Because at the end of the day, we're all one fan base. But personally, you know, like, we say it as it is on here. And the fact of the matter is, this is something we should have addressed a long time ago, and we haven't. We've said it way back before AFCON started. We've been saying it since October, November, December. And now we're here. There's nothing. So
Yeah.
you know
Well,
what is there
you know
to
what,
talk about?
Lev, what I would say is that don't seek out, and Max, learn a lesson here. Do not seek out negativity. Negativity is not the right thing, and neither is positivity. You can very clearly see who the negative fans are and who the overly positive fans are, and frankly, they're both just nonsense. All I want to do is call it honestly and rationally based on some logic. If you want to see negativity, that's a problem in itself.
Yeah,
I would love Arsenal to go and do the business in the next couple of hours and be able to call it fairly, and that fair assessment of being a positive one. Because a positive, fair assessment will be a reflection of positive work that the club has done. This negativity right now that I'm feeling, that I'm conveying, is based on the fact that I have seen negative, literally, when I say this, I mean it literally, negative work done. Because the work that has been done hasn't taken us forward. It's negative. And that's why now you're seeing negativity. But I don't want to be like this. Why would any fan want to be negative? My default position is that I'm waiting to give my club credit rather than waiting to give my club criticism, because I trust and hope they'll do the right things. Days like today, where we're an hour and 45 minutes away, it feels negative, so it will be negative. But I still hope they go and do something.
Wow.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And obviously I can see you're very worked out and animated about this. Let's just, we've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes, so I just want to wrap things up in a bit. But if the window finishes like this, right? Tom, what would you give the window out of 10?
I said 3. I say 3 and not 1 or 0, because look, we have moved players out. Let's address the things that we did do. We've saved £29 million worth of wages on a player that could have, stayed at the club for another 6 months. We've got him out. We've got a lot of players out that didn't have a place. Kolasinac, arguably Marie as well. But we've not brought in the players that we needed. We've arguably let go of too many. I think Chambers was probably one player too many. Maitland-Niles, I was fine with going if we were bringing in a replacement. We didn't replace him, so it was a mistake. So I didn't have an issue with him going as long as we brought someone in. So for me, it's a 3. I'm happy with some of the things that we've done regarding outgoings, but I'm not happy overall by far from it. Look, we've gambled our season. Whoever put that in the chat box earlier on was probably the comment of the day, saying we gambled our season, because that's what it is. It's a gamble.
We'll probably, next Monday that we do a show, we can probably talk about the window in more details, because then the window would have shut, and we know exactly the business that has been done. If there is last minute things that will get done after this show, obviously it will be after that we can discuss. And if there is no business, then we can discuss the implication on the season, etc. This may sound like a silly question now, but Mo, how would you rate the transfer window so far if it finishes like this?
Like a lot of the time when people do player ratings and they answer questions like this, football fans are very binary. They shout 0 or 10. You get a lot of 0s, a lot of 10s. You get a lot of balance with the answer. And now I'm really trying to think, if I'm being really balanced here, when I look at a transfer window and try and rate it, you obviously would give them some plus points for doing things like trimming deadwood, players that you don't need. But within that activity, you do that in order to then replace it with players that you do need, right? It's not just a case of get rid of people that you don't need, because we can say we don't need Nketiah, right? And you could even go as far as saying we don't need Lacazette, we need someone better. So if we go and get rid of those two and class them as deadwood, both contracts expiring, you can make a case for them being deadwood. It's still stupid if you don't replace them. So even the good work that we have done, in context of what we haven't done, becomes bad work. So I'm really struggling to give any credit here, because I would rather Maitland-Niles, Callum Chambers, Aubameyang all been here and been reintegrated. So no points for that. No points for even the bog standards of recalling players that are on loan and saying, look, the transfer window hasn't gone as like we wanted it to. So Saliba, Guendouzi, you're back in. Torreira, you're back in. Had we done that, I would have thought, hold on a second. We've got some players that can play football. Not ideal, but we've got some players that can play football if Saliba came back in. Because then my question to you, who's our fourth choice centre-back, would be Holding. Third choice would be Saliba. And all of a sudden your team is improved. So we don't get any points there. And in terms of adding anyone, we've
It's
added
obvious.
Trusty.
Yeah.
Does that get a point?
And it's not even now, It's not
I
even
know.
now. It's next season.
And that was going to be my point. So even if that gets you half a point, I'm sorry, he's on loan. Doesn't even get you half a point. So this is me explaining why I come to my conclusion of 0. Can anyone argue or come up with any logical basis to even give him half a point here? Because a transfer window is designed to strengthen your team, to strengthen your chances of achieving your objectives. We have weakened the chances. We have actually demolished our chances. So it's a 0 from me. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I really do. It's not a reactionary, binary, stupid football fan sort of outcome here. I really, truly believe 0. We've done nothing. We literally have done nothing to further the cause of achieving our objectives.
Okay. And you got Saud Nasri does come back. So lol, that is my actual last name, but I'm not trying to say Kroenke's are in the right. Just that Edu and Arteta have clearly made every mistake possible to ruin any good work that they have done. And that's exactly what the guys have said. Lev, what would you rate the transfer window if it finishes like this out of 10?
I'd have to say 0. And I'll say that because I thought it started well. We started with some real sort of impetus, like in the sense of we were going for a big player, and that would have given them some points. The fact that we went for somebody of Vlahovic's level to indicate we're going for the right type of player, but from there on, it's been absolutely useless. It's just useless. Well, guys, we've let all these people go, so it's just pointless.
Yeah, I mean, guys in the chat as well, please tell us what would you rate the window out of 10 so far. If you're watching this show on the replay, put on the comments what your thoughts are. Obviously, next week we can do a more comprehensive show on the window and how this will affect our season. But just to round things up, final thoughts and what would you like to see from now? What is it? 9:30. So we've got about an hour and a half. So from now, an hour and a half, Tom. Final thoughts on what you realistically would like to see.
Come on, Tom. Give us something positive.
I mean, realistically, what can you do in an hour and 40 minutes? Obviously, I'd realistically like to see a scenario where we've been completely and utterly bamboozled by the club and that they do announce something. That's what I'd love to see, Shaheen. I'd love to see that happen. I'd love to be proven wrong. But I'm 99.9 reoccurring% sure that isn't going to happen. Despite all of the, as the boys put it, logic that should tell us that isn't going to happen. And look, but both Moh and Lev made a great argument for their 0 points, and I respect it. If you're going to throw in a number and come out with explanations like that, you've got to respect it. So, look, mate, we gambled our season. It's unacceptable and it's awful. And look, if we don't make top 6, if we don't make top 4, look, there needs to be serious conversations. It would be ironic, though, wouldn't it, if we do? Can you imagine that? We don't sign anyone, make top 4. It would be... I mean, you have to look at that as a hell of an achievement.
Listen, Tom, the thing is, as I always say this, and it comes up with football fans so much, because football is such a results-driven business that people seem to think that is the be-all and end-all. So the ends justify the means for them. This is like someone in the Tory party saying Boris was right to do everything that he did if they get re-elected. Like, I'm sorry. If you can ascertain and judge whether something is wrong or right in its own context without the gamble element of what comes next. Yeah. This transfer window is not being good. No club is ever going to view this as a case study of a best practice transfer window. It's simply not a good transfer.
Oh yeah, top 4 would be in spite of this window, without any shadow of a doubt. Yeah.
Not because of, but in spite of.
In spite of.
And I do not want that narrative to be changed because it's very difficult. And this is where you have to be true to yourself as a supporter. You know, I always say that the term fan, that's for the fanatics. I'm not a fan, I'm a supporter because I'll support my club. Because every fibre in my body doesn't want Arteta and Edu to get away with this. Because if I was looking at any other business, I'd be saying, no, I don't want these executives to get away with this. I want there to be some sort of causality between the way you do your job and the outcome. You don't want people to just, chance it through life. You want the people that do things properly to be rewarded in life. That's just how my mind works, right? But as a supporter of this football club, I don't care. I want us to get away with it. But if we do get away with it, I don't want the narrative to be changed. I want people to realise, in spite of Stan, in spite of Edu, Vinay and Mikel Arteta, if he's truly part of this, as we believe he is because of his manager job title, I don't want people to think that, they were right in the end. They were right in the end. It doesn't work like that.
No.
That is not the intelligent viewpoint. That is the complete gambler's viewpoint, where you chuck your life savings on one number out on a roulette wheel and say 1 out of 37 chance it came in, it was the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do. If that's how you think, close your eyes when you cross the road. And if you get to the other side, it was the right thing to do. That's that dumb sort of logic I've got no time for.
And what would you like to see in the next an hour and a half, realistically, Mo?
I'd like to see the club prove me right, that they're not idiots, that we don't know better than them. Because why should we know better than them? We're just fans. And for them to pull something out of the bag in the next hour and a half. And I will say it again, they will, because they have to.
Okay. Lev?
I think Mo said everything for me. What I want to see is that we've all been idiots, we've all been panicking, and they've all got it sorted, and they're a lot smarter than us, and they've got everything in the bag. Isak, maybe, he was here in London because he was sorting out personal terms and agreeing to it before we trigger his clause. That's what I want to see. Am I hoping, am I believing it's going to happen as every minute ticks away? No. But I'm still hopeful that logic will prevail and will be proven wrong. That's all I can hope for. So that's what you've asked me, what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see a signing of somebody who's going to make a real difference and push us to that top 4. That's it.
Okay. Very well. And obviously, if anybody cared to know, my rating of the window would be 1.
Can we just move on?
Yeah, well, I thought that nobody cared. But my rating of the window would be 1. And just because they just saved some wages, that's it. There's nothing.
And if everyone
else.
could put that in the comments as well, I'd like to see everyone's comments, what they think of the window. Ratings in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, and hopefully an hour and a half, as Mo said, to prove us wrong and to ensure that the next 17 games will not be a, how can I word this? Will not be a bad atmosphere. Because as I said, we are 1 or 2 losses away from a toxic atmosphere, whether it's home or away. If we lose at Wolves, it's going to come down to Arteta, Edu hard. We're going to go back to the time before the window where everybody was on there. Why are you not signing this? Why are you not this? Why are you not that? Because as Mo said, we all can see something. If the window closes, they haven't signed anybody, and then our season starts to falter, then that means they're idiots, as you said, and they're not fit to do the job. So they need to be moved on. Whether they will get moved on or not, that's an entirely different show on its own. But we'll be going for about an hour, 20 minutes, a bit longer than what we usually do. Thank you very much for everybody who joined us. Hopefully an hour and a half for Arsenal to give us something to be excited about. I'm not holding my breath, but please hit the like button, subscribe to Arsenal Lounge, subscribe to Moh's channel, subscribe to the Gooner Talk TV. We do this show obviously every Monday at 8 o'clock. Make sure you tune in. And Lev, my friend, do you want to do the bizzo?
Big up to everyone in the chats today. You made me laugh with some of your comments, especially with the fact that Mo was fuming and how I looked and all of that. Tom got away quite lightly today. But thank you for all your interaction. We really, we appreciate everything you do and the support. Please go home, light some sage, say some prayers, get some Palo Santo, whatever it is. Just let's hope in the next hour and a half something changes. That's all I can say. So thanks again. This has been the Arsenal Lounge. We're still stewing and out of here. Peace.